It was... Oh. Hello, Elias?
Do you have a moment?
Not really. I'm sort of in the middle of something.
I understand. It's just that Miss Hearn has lodged a complaint.
A complaint? I could just as easily complain about her wasting my time.
That's not how it works, Jonathan.
I wouldn't have even needed to do the recording if Rosie had kept her equipment in better condition.
Regardless, I would prefer that you not antagonize anyone connected to the Lucas family. They are patrons of the Institute, after all.
Fine. I'll be more lovely. Now, could I get back to work?
Very well. By the way, have you seen Martin?
Oh, he's off sick this week. Stomach problems, I think. Blessed relief, if you ask me.
Right, tell me again, please.
You're kidding!
You did bring a tape recorder. I just thought John would appreciate as many supplementary recordings as possible for the record.
Well, for the record, if we don't do something now, it won't matter either way.
So, these are the worms he and Martin
The
have been going
ones
on.
terrorising us for months, yes.
To be honest, I always thought they were just overreacting. Other staff have seen them around, but no one's reported any aggressive behaviour or anything like that. You know how those two are. John puts on a good show, but sometimes I swear he's worse than Martin.
Look, Elias, I don't know what you think is going on, but I have just seen thousands of flesh worms pouring out of the wall. God knows how long they've been hiding. Tim might be dead, and the others...
Well, of course. The fire alarm was a good move, but it does mean most staff have evacuated, so we'll have to deal with them ourselves.
There are thousands of them, Elias.
Not quite what I meant. On John's insistence, I recently changed the Archives fire suppression system to use carbon dioxide. I should have done it
So
years ago.
why hasn't
really,
it gone off?
Because there isn't an actual fire.
Right. Can we set it off manually? I think John's got a lighter somewhere.
He's not smoking again, is he? Anyway, it shouldn't be necessary. There is a manual release a few floors down.
Wait, will it hurt Martin or John?
Almost certainly. I'm not a doctor, but I know dumping a lot of CO2 on people isn't generally considered a good idea. I really don't want to have to find another archivist so quickly after Gertrude, but from what you say, it might be a mercy. You know the situation best, so...
Let's go.
Statement of,
John, as your boss, I'm telling you to go
I'm
home.
fine.
Look, you look like a mummy. You need rest.
Our friends in the hazmat suits gave me a clean bill of health, bloody holes notwithstanding. And they seemed quite keen to quarantine anyone showing even the slightest sign of infection. It's just pain.
The paramedics said your lungs need fresh air. Tim's as well.
It's fresh enough down here.
A basement filled with 1,000 rotting worm carcasses. Surely we could do this in my office.
No. I need to be here. Keep watch. I need to be sure.
John, she's gone. I went with the ECDC people when they took her away. I watched her body burn. Jane Prentice is dead. You can relax.
You know why I can't. When Martin found...
That's a matter for the police.
Fine. I'll go home as soon as I have everyone's statements.
Very well.
Statement of Elias Bouchard, head of the Magnus Institute, regarding the infestation by the entity formerly known as Jane Prentice. Statement recorded direct from subject 29th July 2016. Whenever you're ready.
There isn't a lot to tell for my part. This afternoon, just after lunch, I was going over some budgets in my office as I normally do on a Tuesday when the fire alarm started going off. It was annoying, but not too worrying at first. I packed my work away and began to calmly head towards the evacuation point when Sasha came barreling through the door, babbling about worms and clutching a tape recorder. I told her that whatever was wrong should wait until we were out of the building, as there may be a fire. She told me she had set off the fire alarm to get everyone out, and that you and Martin and Tim were currently trapped by Jane Prentice. Obviously, this got my attention, and I suggested she turn the tape recorder on, largely so this sort of debrief wouldn't be necessary. Did you not get the tapes?
No, there was some sort of problem. Sasha told me the tape was lost.
Well, I explained to her about the recently installed fire suppression system and said that, as there was no actual fire, we'd need to activate it manually. We hurried down and it was clear everyone else had already evacuated. We had reached the ground floor when... well... I know I've often seemed dismissive of your concerns before. In fact, I was getting ready to raise the issue of Martin's continuing to live in the Institute's basement, especially as I believe he's been stealing fire extinguishers. But honestly, I didn't fully appreciate what you've been talking about until I turned that corner and we saw what I can only describe as a tidal wave of filth rushing towards us. I feel somewhat ashamed to admit I didn't really pay any attention to Sasha as I ran and must have lost her at some point. We became separated. I composed myself and decided on a more roundabout route to the boiler room. Luckily, it seemed the things were mainly concentrated in that one mass, leaving the other corridors largely vacant. It took me 10 minutes, maybe 15, but I made it with only one close call. The sight of rows and rows of huge red CO2 canisters was certainly something of a comfort. I do apologize that it took me quite so long to figure out how to actually work the system. If I'd been quicker...
It's fine. We're alive.
Yes, well... I turned on the fire suppression system and that's when I heard the scream. I can't really describe it, but well, I'm sure I don't need to. You were a lot closer to it than I was.
It's the last thing I remember before blacking out. Tens of thousands of things without mouths screaming as one.
Yes. Horrible sound. Anyway, I called the fire department, ambulance, and a contact at the ECDC who had previously been involved in the Prentice investigation. Once I was sure most of the gas would have dissipated, I headed down to the archives to see what had happened. Sasha was already there, but you and Tim were in a bad shape. It looked like a few dozen worms had been going into each of you when the carbon dioxide killed them. It was bloody suicide.
Yes. Thank you. I remember everything from when the ambulance arrived. Quarantine, bandaging, etc. When did Martin get back?
It was about an hour after they'd taken you and Tim away. They were prepping Prentice's corpse for disposal when Martin burst out of that trapdoor you found, screaming that he'd found a body. So we called the police.
Tell me what happened to Gertrude Robinson.
John, how many times do we need to go over this?
We've never got it on tape.
You can barely stand. Just why don't we do this tomorrow? Fine. On the 15th of March last year, I had a query about a statement one of our researchers was after and went down to the archives. Gertrude wasn't there, but her desk was covered in blood. I called the police and there was a huge search, but there was no sign of Gertrude, alive or dead. She didn't have any assistants, so there were no witnesses, and no one saw or heard anything. The police tested the blood and confirmed the DNA matched to Gertrude, though I don't know why they had her on file. They judged there to be almost a gallon of blood spilled, far more than the human body can lose and survive, so I assumed she was dead and left the investigation to the police for all that good it did me. And I appointed another archivist. Martin finding her body in the tunnels is as much a mystery to me as it is to you.
Right. Right. Thank you, Elias. Statement ends. Can you send in Tim?
I don't enjoy having to have these meetings, John. You know I don't.
Well, I'm sorry you're compelled to. I assume you've had another complaint?
Yes.
Who from this time? Was Dr. Elliot offended I declined to take his apple? Was I too rude to Michael?
Who's Michael? No, it's from your team.
What?
Martin and Tim have both approached me. Apparently you've been spying on them.
Spying on them? Of course not. No, it's just I've been worried about their mental health following Prentice's attack, so I've been keeping a closer eye on them than usual.
Tim says you were watching his house.
Well, that's just not true.
Well, what matters is your team thinks that it could be. Look, I know finding Gertrude's body hit you hard. I understand, but you need to leave this alone. It isn't their mental health that's under scrutiny right now.
Fine. Fine. Is that all?
Yes.
You don't mind if I record this, I trust?
Well, to be honest...
That's kind of one of the things we wanted to talk about.
This is an intervention.
Excuse me.
If you'd rather it was an official disciplinary hearing, John, we can arrange it.
Fine. Say your piece.
We care about you, John. And you've been rather erratic since the Prentice incident.
And we'd really like
To not have to fire
to
you.
make sure that you're doing okay.
Look, I understand I've been a bit distant recently.
You were watching my house.
You followed me on my lunch break and searched my desk.
You said I was lying about a murder.
That is to say,
You think we killed Gertrude?
No, it's... Maybe. Maybe you did. I don't know.
John, this is absurd. This goes far beyond an unhealthy work environment. I'll admit it's partly my fault for letting it get this bad. I should have stepped in earlier.
You still don't believe us, do you?
It's not that I don't believe you. It's just... I mean, you could have done it.
Seriously? Listen to yourself.
Not right. We've gone a long way beyond right, Martin. There are monsters out there, and I don't know who or where they are, or if any of you... If you want me to trust you, then I'm sorry, but I need evidence.
Here.
And this is...
A copy of all the CCTV from the week Gertrude disappeared. The police finally finished cleaning it up and examining it, and returned a copy.
There aren't any cameras in the archive.
But there are everywhere else, including all of the entrances into the archive, and across all of the feeds it provides a remarkably detailed account of all of our movements over that week, even yours.
And you think this gives everyone an alibi?
The police certainly do, but feel free to check it yourself. John, there's nothing down there.
No, that's not true. I told you what happened.
You told me you wandered around in the dark for hours at a time shortly after suffering an incredibly traumatic experience.
So you're saying I imagined it?
It's a possibility. The other possibility is there's something very dangerous down there. Neither makes me particularly inclined to unlock it.
So what do you plan to do about it? Send someone else?
We really don't have the budget for that.
So nothing. You're just going to leave it.
For now, I think that's for the best.
Please, Elias, I need to know.
You really think that this will help?
Yes. Yes, it's getting harder and harder to work down there without being sure of what's underneath me. So either give me the key or find a new archivist.
Oh, good Lord, don't be so dramatic, John. You know how hard it would be to replace you.
I don't, actually. But thank you, I suppose.
I'll have a copy made for you on one condition. Be careful. No more impetuous subterranean adventures, understand?
Of course, of course. Understood.
And for God's sake, get some sleep. Well, this is a surprise. Reach for a book and I will kill you. How much have you told him?
Enough.
About Gertrude?
No, I didn't have time.
I've wondered for so long who it could be down there. Who was helping her. I honestly never would have guessed.
How did you know I was here?
I didn't. You're very well hidden, but John is not. And he failed to take the same precautions I'm sure you took for granted with Gertrude. I knew he was talking to someone, and it turns out to be Jürgen Leitner himself. What an honor.
Elias, please.
What did you want from him?
The files. The ones you took from Gertrude.
Planning a little light arson, are we, Jürgen?
It's not just the Institute, and you know it. They had everything she had found on the stranger.
I know. It's, what do they call it?
The unknowing.
Creativity never was their forte.
You, of all people, should want to stop them.
And we will. But I don't think we'll need your help.
And what's he going to think when he gets back?
Well, he was always going to need to fly the nest at some point. Go out and see the world for himself.
He might die.
It's always a danger. Almost always.
Elias, it doesn't have to be like...
Huh.
Something wrong, Detective?
How many tape recorders you got?
Can't say I'm entirely sure. We have all sorts of old equipment in storage, I think. You wish to use it for the interviews?
Probably not.
And you're sure you want to do it in here? We haven't had a chance to properly clean it.
Won't take long.
If you say so. I warn you, some of my people have a tendency to ramble.
I just need to know where he is.
As you wish. Who do you want first?
Don't care.
Right you are. You'll be all right on your own for a minute?
That a joke?
Some people find this place unsettling.
Mr. Bouchard, I'm not the one who needs to be scared.
Whatever you say, Detective.
Elias Bouchard,
Correct.
sit.
So, what can I do to help? You want my account? My sworn testimony? My statement?
What is... No, just a couple of questions.
Of course.
I don't suppose you know how to turn this off.
Oh, leave it running. I'm sure John will want to review the tapes when he gets back.
So you don't think he did it?
Killed a man in cold blood? Certainly not. He doesn't have the stomach for it.
People can surprise you.
In John's case, I rather hope so.
You want him to be a murderer?
Have you had any luck identifying the body yet? Well?
I'm the one asking the questions.
Very well. Then I suppose this interview is over. Unless you care to arrest me?
The victim isn't someone we have on file. Doesn't match any missing person. Still a John Doe. I say something funny?
Nothing. Just remembering an old joke.
Right. So, do you know anything about the current whereabouts of Jonathan Sims? Anywhere he might be staying? Any friends he might have contacted?
I do.
Well?
I was wondering, is it worth it? Operating the way that you do?
Just answer the question.
Does the lack of oversight make up for the lack of support?
What do you know about the current whereabouts of Jonathan Sims?
Everything. I know exactly where he is, and who is with him. But I don't think I'm going to tell you.
I can drag this down to the station if you want, you weird little freak. Maybe Sims didn't do this on his own.
Please, Detective Tonner, you don't want this to happen in the police station any more than I do. Your superiors, exactly how aware are they of what you're doing right now?
They know enough. They got a call and sent me down here. That's how it works.
And then they don't ask any questions, as long as you keep it far away from official police channels. Except your partner leaving has made you sloppy. No notes, no proper interrogations, no backup of any sort. You've barely collected a scrap of evidence from the scene and made no official record of the dozens of interviews you've done with the Institute staff. You haven't even followed up on any of the other potential suspects or leads, and shown no interest at all in the fate of Sasha James. All you care about is where John is, because you've decided on a course of action, and you're going to follow it through.
If you're right, what's to stop me kicking your teeth in? No cameras down here, remember? I can always just turn off that little recorder of yours, smash it up.
Very true. However, you aren't going to do that, Detective. Because of Calvin Benchley.
What?
Calvin Benchley? You recognize the name, don't you, Alice? You see, I know what you did.
I don't know what you're talking about.
No? The scar may have faded, but you haven't forgotten. Did it itch? Just a little? When you were burying him?
You shut the hell up, or I swear I'll kill you.
A genuine threat, I'm sure. But right now, what you're really trying to figure out is if I have any evidence that could make it back to your people. I mean, it seems impossible, of course. How could I? But you just don't know. So many impossible things happen in here, in this strange, musty place.
Shut up.
Here's what's going to happen. I'm going to make a statement, your statement, to prove to you what I know, and because I want John to hear it someday. And when it's over, you are going to leave. Because if you don't, I'll make sure your superiors know all about every nasty little thing you've done in the name of peace and order, and I'll make sure they are subject to the scrutiny they so desperately want to avoid. More importantly, I'll make sure they know it has all been exposed because of you. Is that clear? I will take that as a yes. If you're smart, you'll go back to the police station and put forward some half-baked cover-up for what happened to your mystery corpse and leave it at that. But I don't think you are smart, so in many ways I'm excited to find out what you do next. Statement of Alice Tonner regarding the crimes and death of Calvin Benchley. Statement never given.
Don't.
Everyone calls me Daisy. I like that, because it sounds so gentle, and I'm the only one left who knows about the scar on my back. It doesn't really look like a daisy, more like a starburst, but it's what the doctor said when I got it, so that's how I've always seen it. It makes me feel strong, to know that the soft nickname everyone calls me comes from a bloody wound. And I like to feel strong, to be in control.
I'm gonna kill you someday.
When I was 11, I had a best friend, and his name was Calvin Benchley. We didn't hang out at school much because his friends said I couldn't play with them because I was a girl. But every day after getting home, we'd go to the nearby park and play. It was small, just a scrap of grass and dirt. But if you hopped the fence to the south, you could get into the cemetery. And if you went the other way, you got into an old building site. The fence on that side was broken and jagged, but it collapsed enough that it was easy to climb over into the half-built structure. Our parents had forbidden us from playing there. It was collapsing, as well as being a known hangout for tramps and druggies. We would take turns daring each other to go in there. That day, I dared him. That's why it was my fault.
Shut up. It wasn't my fault.
We had been in the park when there had been shouting from the building site, crashes, violence, then a long silence. I dared him to take a look, and when he didn't want to, I started making fun of him. So in he went. When he didn't come back, I decided he was just trying to spook me, but after 15 minutes, I decided he wasn't. I wanted to run away and get my mum, but I was frightened of getting in trouble, so instead I followed Calvin over the fence. Inside were the first 2 dead bodies I had ever seen. They looked like they had attacked each other with broken glass. One lay impaled on a broken bottle, still holding the long shard of glass that jutted out of the other's throat, and there was blood everywhere. I felt a rush of fear and a strange sort of excitement.
You can't know that.
On a broken staircase above them stood Calvin, staring at me with vacant eyes. Standing behind him, I saw something. A hunched figure. I think it was naked. I couldn't see anything except pale flesh and the vivid red of cuts and injuries. Every inch of its body appeared to be covered in open wounds, but no blood seemed to flow from them. The thing was utterly still, save for a lipless, scabby mouth which moved so fast it was almost a blur, sullenly mouthing words that only Calvin could hear. I know they were for him, because with each movement of its jaw, the thing's long, pointed, black tongue would shoot out and flick itself into his ear. He was completely expressionless as that crooked, cut-up figure whispered to him and flicked at his ear with a barbed tongue.
No.
Then Calvin's eyes turned to me. Without hesitation or expression, he began running, sprinting right at me. I tried to get away, but he was faster and slammed into me, pushing me off my feet and into the rusted fence behind me. There was an explosion of pain in my back as jagged metal embedded itself in my shoulder, and then it went dark. The last thing I remembered before the hospital was the fierce pride on Calvin's face as he stood there. No one believed me about what happened. Calvin said that I had tripped and fallen, and that was the story everyone accepted. But after that he was different. Moody. He started getting into fights, and everyone just assumed he was turning into a teenager, but 6 children at my school were seriously injured or killed by the time he left for university. All accidents, of course, nothing that would have pointed to him. But I was always careful around him, the daisy scar on my back a constant reminder that we were not friends, that he was no longer to be trusted. I told people, but he seemed to feed on the uneasy glances of his classmates and took great pleasure in scaring them further. Even after school, I kept an eye on him, but I couldn't believe he had never been arrested. I later got a look at his file and found out that he had been, but they'd never been able to make anything stick. He was smart and careful. We once almost nailed him for aggravated assault, but the victims changed their story and said they were the ones who attacked him.
You've made your point.
6 years ago, Calvin Benchley became the first human being I murdered. I beat him round the head as he was coming out of a bar, drove him to my usual spot and shot him 5 times in the chest with a handgun taken from the evidence lockup. He didn't beg for his life. He didn't say a word. I don't think he even recognized me. He was harder to get rid of than the vampires, but I managed it, and nobody asked any questions at all. He was a scumbag, and nobody wants to risk getting a Section 31. He was the first human I dealt with like that, but he certainly wasn't the last. Do I need to go on, Detective Tonner? Good. Feel free to see yourself out. If you take any action against myself or this institute, I will ensure the police become aware of your crimes in a way that cannot be ignored or covered up. I leave the matter of Jonathan Sims up to you, though I will not tell you where he is. I suggest you close the case and move on, but if you find yourself unable to do so, my advice is to kill him quickly. There's no telling what he might be capable of.
One day, someone is going to kill you. I really hope it's me.
Good day, Detective. A friend of yours?
Oh, It's okay. She's giving a statement.
I see. Well, good to meet you. Elias Bouchard. I run the Institute.
Melanie King.
Ah, you're not the Melanie King who runs Ghost Hunt UK, surely?
Used to.
Ah, of course. My apologies.
You used to watch it.
I'm sorry to hear it's no longer running. Your techniques were rudimentary, but you showed surprising promise on occasion.
Thank you, I think.
I mean, Melanie was actually just leaving. I think we were done.
Yes. Yes.
One moment, Miss King. Martin has filled you in on recent events, I believe.
I mean, a bit.
Not everything.
Then you are aware there is currently a vacancy for an archival assistant.
Yes, and an archivist.
I don't think we need to worry about that just yet, but the assistant role...
Hang on. Are you offering me a job?
What?
You have some experience in the field, I believe.
Well, yes, but...
I mean, that doesn't actually make her qualified.
Formal qualifications aren't everything, Martin. Do you want the job, Melanie?
Oh. It's rather sudden, but, I mean, sure, yes. Yes, I do.
Melanie, I'm really not sure that you actually...
Problem, Martin?
No. No, I guess not.
Good. Well, if you want to come on up to my office and we'll have a proper interview. Hopefully get all the paperwork signed.
Lead the way.
Tim?
Hey, boss. What brings you down to the dungeons? Your office just too full of joy?
Not quite. I heard you'd had some absences, some unauthorized leave. I just wanted to talk it through with you.
Right.
Were you sick? If you're sick, you really need to call in.
Nope. Wasn't sick. Try again.
Well, you hadn't booked any leave.
No, I had not.
So what happened?
I hopped a flight to Malaysia and found myself a hotel.
I see. You were trying to leave us?
Yeah.
But you returned.
I got sick. The longer I was gone, I felt weak, like I was losing myself. You gonna fire me, boss?
No. I don't think that'll be necessary.
Of course not.
But let's be sure it doesn't happen again, hmm?
You do know, right? I mean, you must know.
Know what?
About this place. About what it does to us.
Tim, this place is very old. It has all sorts of idiosyncrasies, and not all of them are good for the people who work here.
I think I prefer asbestos.
I've always found the best way to deal with it is to lose yourself in work. Personally, the comfortable rigor of bureaucracy has always helped me. Perhaps doing a bit of mindless filing will help distract you.
Yeah. I mean, maybe you're right.
I'm sure I am. And no more unauthorized absence, okay?
What's your emergency?
Police, please.
Hello.
Yes, I'm calling to report a crime in progress.
Sir, are you in any immediate personal danger?
Yes. Not immediately, but I will be shortly.
Sir, where are you calling from?
Could I speak to your chief inspector, please? Tell her Elias Bouchard is calling. Of the Magnus Institute.
Oh, sure.
Thank you.
Chief Inspector Calgary.
Ah, yes. Good afternoon. Sorry to bother you. I believe you're looking for Detective Alice Tonner.
Do you know where she is?
I do, yes. She should be here in about 15 minutes.
I'll send some officers over immediately.
That will be wonderful. Much appreciated. Statement of Barnabas Bennett, as given in a short letter to Jonah Magnus, April 9th, 1824. My dear Jonah, you must help me. If anyone is still here, it is you. I know your work brings you into contact with all sorts of fantastical terrors, so perhaps you might have it within your power to save me from this place. And it was you who warned me not to cross Mordecai Lucas, advice that I have, I'm afraid, disregarded. It was a small enough thing, as I believed, a trifling debt I fell behind on, and when he met me in that garden, quiet as it is always with him, he demanded repayment. Well, I took it poorly, and laughed at his insistence. Bring it before the courts, I told him. After all, what judge would find in his favour over mine? He simply regarded me silently for many minutes, staring with such a cast to his face that I could feel my resolution beginning to falter. "You shall pay me," he said at last, "in kind." Then he walked away. Let me tell you, Jonah, I believed myself profoundly lucky that day as my hansom deposited me on the steps of my townhouse, a mood only slightly shaken by the impression that as the cab pulled away, it seemed to have no driver that I could discern. I am lucky, Jonah, but only insofar as that I never married, never fathered children, never let anyone get closer than my brother. The pangs of loneliness I feel are no more acute than my general longing for the company of my fellow man. I have no one whose absence truly pains me. And yet here, in this empty world, I cannot but spend these nights, these dreadful silent nights, huddled and frozen in some terrible fear I find myself unable to name. I almost think I hear the mocking joy of my friends, but there is nobody here, and never shall be again. I try to read, to lose myself in something that is not the absence of humanity. How is it that the books speak to me of my isolation more acutely than the silence? For every treatise I read on this world and its workings, the more I know I am to spend my time left in it without comfort or reprieve. With every tale of love or society, I feel more keenly the absence of both. I went to Egypt once with the Royal Society, to the temple of Ramses II in Abu Simbel. The place was remarkable, of course, but what sticks so keenly in my mind is the journey. 2 days earlier, on the road from Aswan, I found myself separated from my fellow travellers. I do not know how it happened, but I spent 2 hours alone there, under the blazing sun, staring across the vast, empty expanses of that ancient country. I revelled in the silence then, embraced the loneliness like an old friend, but now that friend has devoured me, and I shall not emerge from its jaws. Not without your help. And you must help me, Jonah. If anyone knows of what might break me from this dreadful place, it is you. I know that what is done by those I cannot see might be felt here. I have found glasses broken and pages torn that were not so the night before. It is my hope that if I leave a letter here in your institute, you might find it. You might be able to save me. I have no other hope. Please, Jonah, if you have any compassion within your heart, you will not leave me in this place. Your loyal servant, Barnabas. Jonah Magnus did leave him in that place, John. He got the letter, oh yes, and was on good terms with Mordecai Lucas. He could have interceded, perhaps even saved him, but he did not. And it was not out of malice, or because he lacked affection for Barnabas Bennett. He retrieved those bones sadly enough when the time came. Bones that you can still find in my office, if you know where to look. No, it was because he was curious, because he had to know, to watch and see it all. That's what this place is, John. Never forget it. You may believe yourself to have friends, to have confidants, but in the end, all they are is something for you to watch, to know, and ultimately to discard. This, at least, Gertrude understood. Let us begin.
Sorry to interrupt. John's here, and he seems angry. I actually think he's brought a
Bouchard.
Easy.
Hello, Elias.
Goodness, John. Whatever happened to your hand? And your neck?
That one was me.
You look a mess.
I've had a hell of a week.
Martin, would you be so good as to fetch Melanie and Tim? I think it would be worth their time to be here.
Right. Okay, I'll just... go then?
Okay, let's do this.
John, do you want to get this on tape?
No need, Basira. I've already got one running. Now, you have something to ask me?
Go for it.
Before I strangle the grinning bastard.
Elias, did you kill Gertrude Robinson and Leitner?
That's quite nice, actually. Tingly, but sort of freeing. You know, even Gertrude never properly tried to compel me. I always wondered.
Just answer the question.
Or don't.
Oh, no need to worry about that. I just feel it's only fair to wait for your colleagues, John. They'll want to hear this too. It's also very important to me, in a personal capacity, that you understand I'm answering you of my own free will.
I don't care.
I know, but I do. There's so much of this place, and of ourselves twisted by forces far beyond us. I just wanted you to know.
Okay, so I've got everyone, but I'm honestly kind of
Yeah,
lost as to what's happening.
Oh, Christ, what is it now?
Yes, same question, please.
Elias here is about to confess his crimes.
What?
Oh. Good.
Is that like a...
Yes, I was just saying to John, it's very important to me that you understand that no action I have taken has been controlled. I have done everything because I wished to.
Get to the point.
Of course, Detective. So, for the avoidance of any doubt, I killed Gertrude Robinson because she intended to destroy the archives, and I killed Jürgen Leitner because he was an unnecessary complication, likely to tell John too much too early.
Bloody hell!
Oh,
Sorry. That guy was Jürgen Leitner.
It was.
Daisy, where do I know that name from?
Oh, the Yusuf case, an introduction to higher anatomy.
Oh. Oh, God. And you killed him? You sure shouldn't be giving him a medal.
Very sure.
And Sasha? Did you kill her too?
Sasha died almost a year ago, Martin.
What?
Oh, God.
When Prentice attacked something else, it replaced her. I still don't know how, but...
God damn it, this is...
It wasn't... Sasha.
He's right, Martin. The thing you remember as Sasha was nothing like her. It toyed with your memory. If I showed you a picture of the real Sasha now, you'd have no idea who it was.
So that thing we saw?
Precisely. It finally tried to kill John, then Leitner killed it, then I killed Leitner. And I believe that brings us up to date, more or less.
What about Michael?
What about him? An irritant, interfering because he's bored and he resents us. He has no
Right,
purpose.
that's enough for me. Even got it on tape. Everyone get back.
What?
Daisy, wait.
Out the way.
Now, hang on. I thought you were about
Get
to arrest
out
him.
the way.
John, do something!
Don't.
Excuse me. Yes?
Elias, there's some police officers here to see you.
Yes. Thank you, Rosie. Could you ask them to wait a minute or two?
Yep, will do.
There. That should make it even easier for you, right, Detective? I know you were planning to kill me, but surely an arrest is a consolation prize.
Daisy?
Oh, didn't she tell you why she hadn't gone back to the station? Allow me. She rightly suspected that I held evidence of various murders she had committed, and that I sent this to her superiors. She's quite the killer, your partner. All in the public good, of course. And she was correct. I spent some time acquiring that evidence, or creating it. And while your superiors don't much care about the killings, the fact there is proof, they're not happy. And they want you brought in.
So, I kill you and go to jail. I'll take that deal.
For someone who used to be a detective, you're remarkably reluctant to think things through. You think you're the only police officer eager to do violence and call it justice. No. There are plenty of other rabid dogs out there, mad with the hunt, and some of them have signed a Section 31. There are plenty of others your superiors can call on to clean up this mess.
They wouldn't.
Yeah, they would.
And anyone close enough to be implicated, they will kill Basira.
Okay, wait. That's the police that you're talking about, okay? They wouldn't. Would they?
I'm sorry, Basira.
Yeah.
If the officers down there take you away... But perhaps I was wrong when I called them. Maybe it was a false alarm.
What do you want?
Collateral.
That... what?
A contract of employment for Basira.
What?
Oh, no.
Sign it, and I'll send your ex-colleagues on their way.
Basira,
Don't do it.
There.
Damn it.
False alarm, Rosie. Could you apologise to the officers for me and thank them for their time?
Oh, all right.
So, what? You're her boss now? Is that supposed to stop me?
Yes.
I mean, she's still got a gun.
Of course. Sometimes I forget how new you all are to this. Basira is now tied to the Institute. All of you are. Like fingers on a hand, and I am the beating heart of it. Should I, or the Institute be destroyed, you will all, unfortunately, follow suit.
Wait, what?
Yep, that sounds about right.
And it would not be a pleasant death.
Bullshit!
Then shoot me. Just squeeze the trigger and watch the only person you care about die screaming. Your last connection to humanity. Do it.
Daisy.
What do you want?
The police are not the only ones who can find a use for your violence. I'm sure there'll be plenty here for you to do. Feel free to go where you like in the meantime. I'll be in touch.
You piece of...
Daisy, it's okay. We'll figure something out.
This is insane.
You get used to it.
Now that's taken care of, if you'll all give me and John a moment alone, I'm sure we have some things to discuss.
Yeah.
Come on. So,
come on, John. There's really no need for the scowl.
What do you want?
Honestly, to offer some congratulations. You're doing a lot better than I expected.
Feels like all I've managed to do is not die.
And believe me, that is a remarkably rare skill.
I'm not getting any answers out of this, am I?
The easily digestible sort that wipe away any doubt and fear and neatly organise your new world into happy little columns? No, not from me. These are things you must discover on your own.
Why?
What are you?
The archivist.
Precisely. It is your job to chronicle these things, to experience them, whether first-hand or through the eyes of others. To simply be told that, well...
It doesn't please your master.
Our master, John.
I never chose this.
You never wanted this, no. But I'm afraid you absolutely did choose it. In 100 ways, at 100 thresholds, you pressed on. You sought knowledge relentlessly, and you always chose to see. Our world is made of choices, John, and very rarely do we truly know what any of them mean. But we make them nonetheless.
So what now?
You were doing fine before you forced this little scene. I suggest you continue.
So it was you sending me the statements?
A little bit of direction never hurt anybody, so to speak.
Directed towards what?
The unknowing. I need you to stop it.
Again with... What is the unknowing, exactly?
A ritual. The stranger and its kin attempting to gather power enough to bring it closer.
They're trying to, what, summon it?
Not exactly. These things that touch us, they don't have a form of the sort that could exist in physical reality, so the stranger wishes to remake that physical reality into something closer to itself. It wants to make this world its own.
And how do I stop it?
That is what you need to find out.
No, you are not doing that. I know you have Gertrude's notes, her files. She was working on a way to stop this. Not to mention that apparently you can effortlessly see anything at any time.
Hardly effortlessly, but I take your point.
So obviously you know how to stop it. You could just tell me.
I could. But I believe that if I did so, you would fail. The stranger is antithetical to us. We thrive on ceaseless watching, on knowing too much. What we face is the hidden, the uncanny, and the unknown. If you were to stop them, you need to get better at seeing. And my explaining things is simply not enough.
And you can't just give me all the statements.
John, even when you had all of them at your disposal, you barely got through one statement a week. Why do you think that is? It takes its toll on you, and I know you have had problems with moderation.
So it's back to breadcrumbs and statements and risking my life talking to things that barely remember how to be human anymore.
For now. I'll be in touch. Anything else?
Elias, am I still human?
John, what does human even mean? I mean, really. You still bleed, you can still die. And your will is still your own, mostly. That's more that can be said for a lot of the real humans out there. You're worried about ending up like that thing lurking in the dirt under the streets of Alexandria. Don't be. Just do what you need to do and you'll be fine. Understood?
I suppose so.
Good. Well, I have work to be getting on with. I'll send you a return to work form, but don't worry about the doctor's note. Now, if there's nothing else... Right.
Knock, knock.
Ah, Melanie. Can I help you?
Oh, not really. I just went out for some coffees and thought I'd get you one.
How very thoughtful.
I don't know how you take it, but John likes his black, so I thought that was a fair assumption.
It was. However, I think I'd rather you drink it.
Oh, what?
The coffee you brought me. Drink it.
No, you're okay. I've got my own, actually. It's a decaf
I assume
one.
you don't believe me, then. That murdering me would also kill you.
I don't know
coffee
what you're...
is not as good for disguising tastes as you might think, and it's even worse at disguising texture. Dissolved pills always leave such a, chalky residue.
Look, Elias, I
assume this is your first time attempting to poison someone. Do you actually know how many painkillers it takes to kill someone, or were you just hoping I'd take enough to get sick and you could finish the job manually?
Why bother asking, then? Why bother if you know everything?
I don't know everything, Melanie. Do you know how exhausting that would be? I'll tell you one thing I don't know, and that's how to convince you that I'm trying to help. Honestly, you're one of the lucky ones, but not if we're all dead thanks to an overzealous attempt at independence.
I don't
Let's
need
have
you
no
to...
more clumsy assassination attempts, all right? We'll say no more about it. Consider this your first warning. Next time I shall have to escalate matters, and that won't be a pleasant process for anybody. Understood? Melanie?
Yes.
Good.
Did you turn that on?
Oh, you get used to it. Look, John, I understand you're upset.
A month, Elias, and you did, what, nothing?
Look, I was doing everything in my power to locate you. Everyone was working on finding the ritual site.
You didn't tell them I'd been kidnapped, though, did you?
Well, it wouldn't have helped matters. Martin's research, at least, would have been sloppier.
And imagine what might have happened if your rescue had been slower.
Sarcasm isn't going to help, John.
The only thing here that isn't going to help is you. I am sick of relying on the kindness of things whose stated intention is to kill me.
I am sorry, John, that my powers have not yet reached the level of omniscience, and I am sorry that I have to spend so much time trying to help you develop your own faculties rather than explaining everything to you like a child. But you have a job to do, and I cannot fight your battles for you.
As far as I can tell, the only battles I've been fighting have been yours and Gertrude's.
I should have thought preventing the horrific transformation of our world is not solely my concern.
Fine. At least we now know you're of zero practical use here. So aside from sending me other people's statements, what can you actually do to help?
I have been trying to give you the information you need.
Sure, when you're not bashing its head in with a pipe.
Leitner was... I will admit I possibly overreacted to his sudden re-emergence.
He could have helped.
You? No. To you, he offered nothing but the crutch of simple answers. If I hadn't stepped in, he could have significantly stunted your development, left you defenseless.
Yeah, I can't imagine what it must feel like to be defenseless.
I do regret... Gertrude's notes on the unknowing are lacking. I only shared the statements for a reason.
You didn't even know why you were sending them to me, did you? Just... what, a box of random files she labelled? You were hoping I could figure out the reason Gertrude chose them.
There is a possibility some of them were misfiled.
So what do we actually know?
John.
Don't you dare John me. If you want my help, I'm going to need that crutch.
Gertrude believed that the unknowing was going to take the form of a dance. It required a great deal of intact human skin to clothe what she referred to as the corpse de ballet, though I suspect that's just her sense of humour. There is also one, the Danseuse Étoile, that requires a costume of special power or distinction. Gertrude believed that Orsanov and his circus created a dancer specifically for this role.
I've met it. Calls itself Nicola.
There's also something else in the notes she calls the choir, but no real detail on that. As far as where it will happen...
It's a wax museum. Old, mostly abandoned, I think. I don't know exactly where, but...
That still narrows it down significantly. I'll have the others start digging.
How do I stop it?
Gertrude seemed to think that once the dance begins, it's tied to its location. Sufficiently disrupting that might be enough to derail the ritual. She mentioned she had acquired something for this purpose, but she gave no detail as to exactly what that might be.
And you can't just see where she put it?
She got very good at hiding things from me.
How embarrassing for you. Is there anyone else who might know what it is, or where? Aside from Leitner or Gerard.
Sorry? Gerard Key?
Yes?
How did you... Who told you he was working with Gertrude?
No one. I read it in one of the statements.
I don't think you did.
But,
You just knew it?
Well, no, that's not
No, John, this is good. It's a promising development.
No, it's just deduction.
Is this the first time it's happened?
Look, Gerard's not really a lead. He's dead, isn't he?
Well, yes, but I believe he and Gertrude travelled together shortly before he passed away. Perhaps if we could retrace their steps, we might find something.
And by we, you of course mean...
I'll see if I can hunt down a few relevant statements.
What?
Melanie is on her way up here with a knife. Could you talk to her for me?
Sorry, what?
She's hoping that even if I see it coming, she'll still be able to overpower me. She's wrong, of course, but I'd be keen to avoid that sort of struggle.
So she's trying to kill you?
Yes, again. Even more than the others, she has a visceral hatred of being trapped, regardless of how much freedom I afford her.
I don't...
Come in, Melanie.
Elias, hi, just brought... What are you doing here?
Put the knife down, Melanie. Melanie!
Get out of my way!
I don't believe this isn't the way.
You haven't been here. You don't know.
I was kidnapped!
Oh. Sorry.
I mean, yeah, Elias...
Seriously, you too. Has he got everyone fooled? If he dies, we die. It's not even a good lie.
Why would it not be true? If he's managed to bind us, why wouldn't he be able to do that?
John, look at me. There is only one way out of this, and it is through
Look,
him.
I get that you hate being here, Melanie, but do you really want to trade it for prison?
No. But the way I see it, the police seem really keen not to investigate crimes committed here.
That's actually fair.
Shut up! Melanie, please.
It's not just being stuck here, John. It's not just me. He's manipulating you. He's manipulating all of us. Can you seriously not see that? He's pulling all the strings, and I don't think there's any other way to stop it. So get out of
I'm
my
sorry,
way.
Melanie, but we need him. We will find a way to deal with him, but not today, and not like this.
I am still here, you know.
And if you weren't, I assume you would be watching this conversation. So, Melanie, we can't do this. Not yet.
All right. We'll try it your way. But whatever your way actually is, you'd better figure it out fast. Because it is your fault that I'm here. Fix it, or get out of the way.
Thank you, John.
Shut up.
I think that's actually a good idea.
Knock.
Great.
Oh.
Martin, would you give us a moment? Please.
Right. Sorry, Tim.
You were watching then?
Most of it.
Surprised you didn't know it already. That's your thing, isn't it?
I knew there was some trauma that drew you to us, but I can't say I ever thought to look much deeper. An oversight, perhaps, but I'm looking now.
All right. Hit me with your X-ray eyes then, boss. What do you see?
Disruption. An unpredictable, angry man with nothing left but the desire to feel in some way revenged.
Ooh, terrifying. Surely only magic could have let you see so deep inside my very soul.
Tim, I'm only going to tell you this once. Please stay away from the unknowing, the circus, all of it. I don't believe you can help, and I don't know what will happen if you get involved.
Oh, sure. I'll just forget about it. Go back to sulking in a corner.
Tim.
Don't worry about me, boss. I'll just stop. It's what I'm best at, right? Don't want to get in the way of your evil plans, do I?
I mean it, Tim.
Oh, you mean it? Oh, well, that's different. Okay, well, let me tell you what. If you want me to ignore everything that's going on, forget my brother and everything that's happened over the last 2 years, how about you kill me?
I don't want it to come to that.
Well, me either. But here we are. So my proposal for you is this. Either kill me, or fuck off.
I'll come back when you're feeling more reasonable.
Then I guess I'll see you in hell.
Come in, Melanie.
Martin said you wanted to see me?
Yes. Please come in. I thought it was about time for your first performance review.
I didn't even know that was, well, there wasn't anything scheduled.
No. Well, given the recent, tensions in the office, I thought it probably best if you weren't aware of it in advance.
Right.
Less time to prepare. You understand?
Right.
So, have a seat. You've been with us a few months now, I believe.
Yes.
And how are you finding it?
Is that a joke?
Aside from the obvious, I mean.
Oh, well, I suppose it's been unstructured. Without John around, and with you being sat up here lurking, there's not been a lot of useful direction.
I see.
I mean, you pick out a statement occasionally, and John might phone in to ask after some scrap of information, but to be honest, no one's even really told me what an archival assistant is actually supposed to do.
So how have you been occupying your time?
Reading, mostly. Doing some of my own research.
Into what?
My own projects.
Of course. And plotting my demise.
When I get a chance, yes. I suppose that doesn't look very good on my review.
Quite frankly, no.
Well, if you need to fire me, I won't make a scene.
No, I'm afraid not.
Sure.
I wish I knew the words that would make you believe me.
What? That you are a literal dead man's switch?
No.
For goodness sake.
If that was the only issue, I could have simply placed the knowledge in your mind.
What?
You already have doubts, though. You've been talking with Tim and have convinced yourself that even if I'm telling the truth, I'm too dangerous to live.
Well...
Whatever I'm planning needs to be stopped, even if it costs a few lives, including your own.
Well, that's not even...
A rationalization, of course. A lie about your own selfishness. That you would rather be dead than trapped without the self-determination you prize so highly. I wish I knew the words to convince you it's for the best.
Are we done?
It's too deep. I can see almost anything I care to, read knowledge from someone's mind or place it there, but I just cannot change the nature of a person. And I am struggling to think of what could rid you of this misguided rage.
So let me go. Or kill me.
You know, that is the second such ultimatum I've heard in as many weeks. But no, there are always other options. And I am not above threats.
Threaten, then. I've got nothing.
That's almost true. Your life is indeed shockingly absent of any meaningful connections. That's actually one of the reasons I chose you for this job. Your father was your last real anchor, wasn't he?
That's none of your business.
Perhaps. 5 years is plenty of time to grieve. It's a real tragedy, isn't it? Dementia? Especially so early. But he always remembered you, didn't he? Little moth.
Shut up.
At least you got him into a decent care home. Hard to afford on an irregular income like yours, but your mother's life insurance helped plenty. And Ivy Meadows wasn't as expensive as some of them. It's a shame about the fire. But I'd have thought it would offer something of a relief.
What are you talking about?
Oh, of course. They told you he died in his sleep, didn't they? Smoke inhalation. A real tragedy, but at least he didn't suffer. Do you want to know what really killed him? Awful, isn't it? He really suffered. Not really your fault, just bad luck. But that doesn't comfort you, does it?
Take it back. Take it back.
I'm afraid that's not really something I can do. I can promise not to make it worse, though.
What? No.
You know how your father really died, and I am sure that is unimaginably painful for you. But be aware, if I choose to, I can make you see it.
No.
If you try to interfere with me again in any way, I will drive that image so deep into your psyche that even if you are right, even if you live, it will be there every time you close your eyes.
No.
That's all right. Take your time. Tell you what, why don't you take the rest of the day off? I'm sure you have a lot to process. Anyway, aside from all of that, I'd say your performance has been satisfactory. Thank you all for coming.
Well, you said it was important.
Will Melanie not be joining us?
No, she won't.
Very well. I suppose that's understandable.
What do you want?
To help. You have your recorder running?
Of course he does.
Yes.
Well, then I'll speak clearly. You will soon be attempting to stop something few have ever witnessed, and fewer still have survived.
Not alone.
I think we're all going.
Yes, and I believe your plan, simplistic as it may be, does have a reasonable chance of working.
Well, thank you.
Sorry. Did we... I thought we'd only actually got as far as... we sneak in, plant bombs when they're distracted,
Detonate them when the ritual starts. They're vulnerable.
I mean, I've got some plans of the museum and the area around it, but yeah, that's it.
Should work. Doesn't need to be fancy.
Well, quite. But, given there is every likelihood that some or all of you might end up confronting the stranger in a rather direct manner, I thought it best you have an idea of what you might encounter.
Oh.
During the difficulties with your initial absence, John, I took Gertrude's tapes into my safekeeping.
Yes, I thought as much.
There is one, I feel. It may be wise for you to hear. All of you. If I may?
We can't trust what we see.
The familiar may seem strange, the strange familiar.
One long category error.
But isn't... I thought that was what the stranger wants, for us to doubt everything.
No one said it was going to be easy.
Brilliant.
I have been doing my best to prepare you, John, to see. You should hopefully have it a bit easier than the others.
Another of my powers.
It's more an aspect of your becoming.
You don't say.
Right.
Regardless, it should, I hope, give you an edge. Otherwise, I would never suggest you go yourself.
What about Martin?
What about me?
He should stay behind.
What?
Really?
Why?
Too many people might attract attention.
No, I can help. I've been reading the statements.
Quite right. Probably best he does stay behind.
What? So you have a backup if John doesn't make it?
I'm sure that won't be necessary.
What? No!
Martin, you can do more good here.
What, sat around drinking tea until the world ends? Or, it doesn't.
We hope.
Melanie's not coming either. I think she'll need you here.
Fine.
Glad that's sorted. Now, unless there's anything else?
Not if, no.
Excellent. Well, it's a 3-hour trip up to Great Yarmouth. I had Rosie book you all into a bed and breakfast near the museum.
Right.
Oh, and, John, technically I can't stop you, but I would heavily advise against bringing any rogue elements.
You can just say Tim.
I will take it under advisement.
Anyway, don't worry about staying in contact. I'll know when it starts.
Naturally.
Oh, that reminds me. Make sure you keep any receipts for expenses, assuming you wish to claim them back.
And assuming we don't, die.
Yes. If you die, I'm afraid you probably won't be able to claim your expenses. Now, if you'll excuse me.
There's plenty more on the pile.
Martin, open the door.
Sorry, Elias. I can't hear you. There's a door in the way.
Martin, I do not have time for this.
And maybe you should make time.
Unlock the door now.
I thought you had a key.
Martin.
I'm not going anywhere. I would hurry, though, if I were you. Hello?
What are you doing?
That one was Benjamin Hattendi. He went fast enough with the key.
What are you doing?
Oh, I'm sorry, can you not just look into my head? Read my mind? What's wrong? Too busy trying to keep an eye on everything?
Tell me what you're doing and why.
I just thought I'd, drop a couple of ideas in the old suggestion box. Turns out my suggestion is fire.
And yet you haven't set the whole archives alight. So I assume this is, what's it called? A cry for attention.
Maybe I just thought it might hurt.
No more than you're hurting yourself by acting out.
Oh, that's it, isn't it? Martin's just acting out. I mean, Daisy's a rabid dog and Melanie's a potential killer. Tim's a rogue element, but Martin's just acting out. He'll have a cry and a lie down and feel much better.
And if you're trying to convince me otherwise, then you are failing. Now, if you're quite done, I am very busy.
Oh, sorry. Sorry, I'm not keeping you from the show, am I? Well, you head back. I'll keep myself busy here. Albrecht von Klosen is next, I think. It's quite an old one. Should go up very quickly.
Did John put you up to this?
You think I'm doing this for him?
No. It's just the sort of half-baked scheme he'd come up with, and I'm well aware that you'll do just about anything for him. And I don't need to read your mind for that one.
Do you Is it so hard to believe that I hate you as well?
No. It's just hard to imagine that you would act on it.
You think I'm bluffing?
Oh, no. You've made that quite clear.
So what? I don't get to be angry. I don't get to burn things. Just run around making tea while everyone else gets to actually have feelings.
Please get to the point, Martin.
Maybe there isn't one. All right? Maybe
you're just wasting my time.
Yeah, maybe.
I see. That puts me in a difficult position.
Good.
You might want to turn the tape off, Martin.
Sorry. Looks like it wants to know what's going on.
A pity. You know John listens to all of them.
What? You don't want him hearing your big evil speech?
Just wanted to spare you the small amount of dignity you have left.
Dignity? Oh, right, yeah. Like the dignity of being trapped in your flat by worms, or sleeping in the archives clutching a corkscrew, or fetching drinks for the thing that murdered your friend without you even noticing. Laughing at all their little jokes, then being left to wander impossible corridors for weeks.
Are you done?
Not even close, because I've been thinking. It's not like you got this all-seeing thing recently. You've had it the whole time. I remember the way you looked at Sasha after the attack. You knew it wasn't her. And I reckon you knew Prentice was lurking under the Institute too, and you did nothing. Why? Why?
Let's just get this over with, shall we?
What? Like with Melanie? Just that perfect bit of information to leave me a wreck?
Yes.
Well, I hope you've got something better than that pathetic dig at my feelings for John.
It's baffling, really. Such loyalty to someone who really treats you very badly.
Oh, is that supposed to be What a revelation.
You know, I really should have gone for that. Found something that would finally manage to shatter that precious image you have of him. But, as you say, I am very busy at the moment. So I suppose I'll just have to go with what I had prepared.
Do it.
Your mother. She's always been difficult, hasn't she? You take care of her for years, feed her, clean up after her, and now, with her condition degrading even further, she is the one that asked to move into a home, to have it left to the nurses. She's the one that refuses your visits.
She's always been...
Strong-willed? Stubborn? No. No, Martin. You know the reason. Your mother simply hates you. You just don't know why. It's not your fault. Though I know that isn't any consolation. It's just bad luck, really. How old were you when your father left? 8? 9? When your mother began to sicken and he decided he was done with you both. Not old enough to remember him with any great clarity, especially when your mother refused to keep any pictures of him. She never recovered from that betrayal. He just tore her heart right out and took it with him. The thing is, though, Martin, if you ever do want to know exactly what your father looked like, all you have to do is look in a mirror. The resemblance is quite uncanny. The face of the man she hates, who destroyed her life, watching over her, feeding her, cleaning her, looking down on her with such pity.
Shut up!
Do you want to know what she sees when she looks at you? Don't burn any more statements. Statement of Elias Bouchard regarding the dreams of Jonathan Sims, head archivist of the Magnus Institute. Currently unresponsive. Details pulled directly from subject. Statement begins. The archivist does not know where he is, and in many ways that is correct. For to say that he was anywhere would be an error. He has no conception of his body, lying on that grey hospital bed, perplexing the doctors, heart unbeating, lungs unmoving, but mind and nerves alive and firing wildly. Everything but brain dead. But he is where he exists so often when his eyes are closed. He wanders the dreams he was given. A cold and well-cleaned room, sterile metal tables that overflow with a gentle trickle of blood. The hearts that beat upon them spasm and spurt without any sort of rhythm, and were they to stand still for but a moment, it might become clear just how wrong they are in their construction. There are no strange figures standing over those tables, no mockeries of earnest learning, but in the centre stands a weeping, bearded man in a lab coat. In his thin, vinyl-gloved hands he holds an apple, though he dearly wishes otherwise. The doctor cannot bring himself to look at the tables, so instead looks to the archivist, whose eye watches him and cannot close. He tries to scream, to curse at the archivist, pleading to him for peace, for rest. The archivist watches as the blood creeps along the tiled floor and pools at the doctor's feet. Desperate, he tries to throw the apple at his observer, but it is too late. The doctor has forgotten how the elbows work and wrenches it to the side with a sickening crack. He tries again to scream, but he hasn't got the throat right, and the wheezing, half-choked gurgle that escapes would stir pity in the archivist if he had not heard it so many times before. The archivist waits, expecting to awaken, but there is nowhere for him to awaken to. No avenue of escape from these dreams. He turns to see the familiar screen, the familiar woman beneath it. She looks up at him with an expression of recognition and weary dread. She types and types and types. Her fingers a blur, flying across the keyboard, and yet never fast enough to outrun the relentless words that flow like dark water across the screen that stretches off into the sky. It hurts. She is shaking her head, defiant in her well-worn terror, and tries with every corner of her will to force back the rolling tide of words. It hurts. Her fingers are still, her hands raised to her mind, trying to think, trying to comprehend. It hurts. She turns to stare at the archivist. There is hatred in her eyes, and blame, an aching certainty that she is here because of him. He has brought her here. He watches as she slowly brings the keyboard up to her lips, fighting against it every moment. She bites down, shards of plastic cutting her fingers as the words scroll unfettered across the screen for miles and miles and miles. And she is gone. The archivist wanders. He is searching, though for what he does not know. He passes those places he can no longer watch, the silent wards of peeling skin, the empty warehouse of thick darkness and frightened children, the rusted train car that smells of eager, infectious hate. All through it the shadow is above him, the shape that gazes down upon him, bloodshot and unblinking. The rain is still there, though it is empty. The long and desolate road, slick with the downpour, a police car's lights flashing over the unmoving van. The doors are open and the two familiar statues stand either side of the well-worn wooden box. He looks around, his eyes scanning this forever road and the clouds of iron grey, looking for her, but she is not there. The archivist expects, he hopes, to find the violence in her looking back at him, hungry for pursuit and murder. But the emptiness of the place is complete. The only sounds the gentle singing of the box and the pounding, bitter rain. He knows the writing on the coffin has changed, though it is still carved deep into the splintered wood. I am for you. He knows it is not addressed to him, but he reaches down and pulls the chains off all the same. It opens and he walks slowly down the steps into the earth, but even as it closes above him, the great shadow still sees him. There is nowhere in this universe that it would not blot out the sky. The rough-hewn tunnels go down beyond anything but sodden earth and despair, until the archivist arrives at the tunnels. Here he sees the train, twisted and pressed in on all sides, nothing but shrieking metal and cracked glass. He climbs inside and takes his seat, mouth tasting of mud and soil, his eyes moving through the dust and grit unblinking. The passenger is there, though she is, as always, stationary. Dry dirt trickles between her teeth as she smiles mirthlessly, seeing the archivist has returned. She is relaxed, suspended from a dozen broken handrails and shattered, jagged seats. They cut her flesh, but she does not bleed. There is no pain in her eyes. There is nothing except the certainty of her fate. The train begins to move, the wheels screaming with the awful weight of it, every part buckling and pressing in, but the archivist is not afraid. His only fear is that even here at the centre of the world, barreling towards a lightless, infinite tomb, still he will be watched. Still, he will watch. The expression on the passenger's face does not change, even as the contorting metal crushes her skull like an egg and she vanishes from view. He catches a glimpse of an advert above his seat. Dig. There is a door in front of him. A yellow door. He knows the dream it used to lead to. He knows it well. But that's not where it leads anymore. He does not know what is behind it anymore, and he is deathly afraid of finding out. The archivist turns away. Behind him are the ants. They move like a terrible rolling wave along the hard-packed ground, and he can see every twitching antenna, every clenching mandible. Somewhere, underneath that twitching, burrowing mass, is the exterminator. He is screaming. The archivist knows he is screaming, can see him screaming, although the sound is lost under the noise of those 100 million ants that crawl and scurry over everything. For a second, a hand breaches the shifting mound, desperately stretched towards the archivist in supplication, pleading for help. The archivist watches as it disappears painfully back into that sea of scrabbling life. Then all at once, the ants are gone, fled in a moment away from the still shuddering form of the exterminator, and a familiar terror finally pushes its way into the archivist's heart. Before him rises an incinerator door, the glowing light of the flames curling around the cracks. With a wailing shriek, the door opens, and the burning silhouette that stands within is ingrained upon the archivist's racing mind. They smoke and sizzle, but still the worms crawl through her charred and pockmarked flesh, her now singed red dress shifting with the movement beneath it. The exterminator looks to her, then to the archivist, and it is not certain which he fears more. The archivist, for his part, is hopelessly willing the dream to stop. But as she takes one scorched step after another, it is clear that he has no power to make it. When faced with her, he even longs for the terrible dream of the melted woman who would see everything desolated without rhyme or reason. But she was beyond his reach the moment she knew he was there. So the archivist can only stand and stare as the hive goes about its infested, long-dead work. The dark building is newer, but he knows it well. Knows the two lost souls who creep through it with an alert hunger on their faces. He recognizes that look from the other hunter whose dreams he has watched for so long. They stalk the darkness itself and hope to catch and kill it before it can do the same to them. They see him watching, but they cannot catch his scent. At last, he is in the moonlit graveyard, the oldest of the dreams. It is peaceful, cool and damp as the rolling, foggy fields stretch out in all directions. He hears her calling pathetically from the bottom of the graves, but by now he knows there is nothing he can do but stare. She begs to be released, to dream of this place no more, but there is nothing he can do. So he watches her, trying in his single-minded focus to ignore the attention of that impossible thing that covers the sky and fixes its gaze on him with such force it would choke him were he breathing. Another dissection room, another figure standing in its center, but this one is calm. She simply looks at him sadly, a pity in her face that burns him worse than any flame. More than anything, the archivist wants to look away, to turn his eye from her gentle sadness, from the disappointment in what she sees in him, but he cannot. So he watches her until she simply fades away. And at last, the archivist looks up. At last he looks into the eye that sees all, and knows all, and clutches at the secret terrors of your heart. The ceaseless watcher of all that is and all that was, the voracious, infinite hunger that tears at his soul, invoking him to discover, to observe, to experience all and everything and forever. It stares into him, and it stares out of him, and he is falling into the devouring eternity of its pupil. He wants to cry out in horror, but he cannot. He is whole. And still he does not wake, wandering his slim collection of gifted nightmares, passing the grey and lifeless remains of severed dreams he can no longer watch. He waits, but not for long, before they all begin again. You're doing well, John. I only hope you can continue your growth without my guidance. Come in. Hello, Inspector. Martin. I'm, sorry to hear about Tim.
Don't.
And Daisy, I suppose.
Don't you dare.
I suppose it's some consolation Basira made it out. And John, more or less.
Is this him?
Yes.
Right. Elias Bouchard, you're under arrest.
On what crime?
Take your pick. Never had a tape recording of a murder before. Something of a novelty. And that's not the half of it. Plenty of stuff in those files could easily get you a nasty end if you weren't careful.
No Melanie? I'd have thought she would have wanted to gloat.
No,
You didn't tell her. Worried she might create too much of a scene. I understand. I just hope she doesn't hold it against you.
That's
Don't worry, Mr. Blackwood. We will take it from here.
I'm sure you will. However, before we proceed, I have a flash drive in my shirt pocket. Please ensure it gets to Chief Inspector Henderson. It contains various information I think she and the Metropolitan Police would be keen not to have released to the public.
Yes, I was briefed that would probably be the case. Can't let you go, though, not with all the evidence kindly provided by your colleagues.
I quite understand. I would just hate for my case to be too truncated.
Not my place to say, Mr. Bouchard. I'm just here to get you behind bars. You and the Chief can discuss the rest.
It's better than you deserve.
Perhaps so, but I'm glad you were sensible about it. I was concerned you might have bought into Melanie's fixation.
Gave you to us all but wrapped up in a bow.
I must admit I'm impressed, Martin. I knew you were all planning something, of course, but I didn't believe you specifically would have the, capacity for boldness that you displayed. Took me quite by surprise.
You didn't just see it in me?
Honestly, I didn't look. For all my power, I will admit I am not immune to making the occasional lazy assumption. I presumed that I knew you thoroughly, but by the time you demonstrated otherwise, well, there was simply too much to keep watching over. I only have 2 eyes, after all.
Right, are you all done now?
I believe so. I think we should be fine, provided you make sure the data reaches the Chief Inspector.
I'm sure she'll be happy to pick you out a cell, personally.
So long as it isn't the morgue, I'm sure I'll be perfectly comfortable.
Just be careful with him, all right? He can see things, put thoughts and stuff into your head.
Like I said, I've been briefed, and the situation is being monitored.
Quite unnecessary, I assure you.
Just please be careful. He's really dangerous.
By all means, Mr. Bouchard. Why don't you have a look in my head and see exactly what will happen to you when you mess with me?
There'll be no need for that, Inspector. I'm sure we'll get along famously.
Good.
Best of luck, Martin. Let the others know I shall be thinking of them.
Come on now.
Are those really necessary?
Not really. No.
I see.
Let's go.
Goodbye, Martin. Be seeing you. Good evening, detective.
I'm not a detective.
Of course.
You wanted to see me?
Yes.
Something too important to tell the inspector?
Maybe I just wanted to have a chat.
Well, good luck with that.
I found one of these in my cell. It wasn't recording, but I assume this means he's awake. Basira?
Can we cut the bullshit?
What bullshit might that be?
The part where you pretend you don't spend your whole time watching us.
Sometimes I'm eating.
You know he's back. You've seen him.
Fine. Yes.
So what's with the recorder? Who gave it to you?
Oh, no, that really did just appear in my cell.
Right, so what? You figured you'd record us for him? So some distrust from afar?
Our arrangement with the inspector notwithstanding, I rather feel that right now all the distrust is very much your own. And as to whether he'll ever hear this, maybe he'll get the tapes, maybe he won't, but the recordings have helped so far, so...
Do you know what they are?
What a question.
Fine. So you won't see him, but you're happy for him to hear our conversations?
He can listen all he wants, but he's at a very delicate stage right now, and I fear my presence would be a distraction. I've made it clear my cooperation is contingent on his not seeing me, and my terms have been accepted thus far.
So why am I here? What do you want that's so important you needed to tell me to my face?
I believe you recently lost Melanie.
We saved Melanie.
As a person, yes. But as a defender, I would have thought you would want all the help you could get. Or have you forgotten what happened last time you let your guard down?
We'll work it out.
Possibly. Then again, you are beset by enemies on all sides, Basira. And unless you expect John to record them into submission, it would seem you are in rather dire need of another option.
And you just happen to have one?
I might have an idea, yes.
And what does it cost?
Just some of your time, Basira. Just your time.
Okay. Let's hear it.
Nice to see you again, detective.
Still not a detective. Never was.
Oh, but everyone else seems to be getting a title these days. Why shouldn't you?
Cut the shit. What are you playing at?
I'm sure I don't know what you mean.
Like hell you don't. Every lead, a dead end. Every contact, vanished or dead. I spent 3 weeks bouncing all over the globe on your bad intel because you said there was a way to bring Daisy back.
There was. It required you to be absent.
You wanted him to go in there.
And you would never have allowed it had you been present.
Why?
Would you simply believe I wanted you and Daisy reunited?
No.
Fine. Consider it a test. Things are coming. Things that will need John to be far stronger and more willing to use his connection to our patron. His performance during the Unknowing was disappointing. I needed a way to force him to harness his ability more acutely than he had before. The coffin was a useful tool, Daisy an adequate bait.
Then you messed up. Where he tells it, he doesn't know how he got out of there.
But he did. And his powers were no small part of it. Even if he required some assistance, they were what saved him. And he has still achieved what no one, mortal, monster, or anything in between, has ever been able to. He climbed out of the buried.
But what's the point? You aren't getting your ritual off from in here, so what do you need him for? What's so important you need him stronger?
I have been observing a recent increase in people and supplies being moved to the small town of Nyolesund in Svalbard. An increase which I believe may be linked to a rather desperate attempt by the People's Church of the Divine Host to perform a crude ritual of their own. To bring their Mr. Pitch into the world.
The People's Church? But I thought...
You thought the final death of Maxwell Rayner might have sufficiently derailed them? Yes, that was my hope too, but alas, it would seem not.
Maxwell, you called in that tip, sent us out to their warehouse.
And now I'm sending you out again.
And why the hell should I trust you this time?
I rather feel the real shame would be letting the entire world fall into darkness because of a single person's wounded pride. detective. The stakes are far too high for that kind of indulgence.
So what are they doing?
I don't know the details. Neolisund is a stronghold of the dark, meaning I can't see inside. I believe they call it the Extinguished Sun, though that's as much as I know. If Gertrude had a plan for this one, I haven't found it, which is why John needs to be closer to the eye. If anyone can stop what's happening, he can. See through the darkness, etc.
And after all this, you want me to just take it on faith and ferry John up to Norway?
Have you ever seen the Aurora Borealis? It's lovely this time of year. It would be a shame to lose them. Feel free to do your own research to confirm what I'm telling you. Just don't take too long.
If you're lying about this...
You'll kill me? I can hardly wait. Good luck, detective. There. Much better.
You know, I don't care if John hears this.
Come on, Martin. It's been so long since I've seen you. Let's not start with lies.
Fine.
I am so very pleased to see you.
Mm-hmm.
No time for pleasantries? Very well then. To business. What can I do for you? Tired of running budgets for Peter? I know I would be.
I need to... Is he telling the truth?
About what?
Any of it.
Everything Peter has told you is true.
Oh.
For all his many faults, Peter is legitimately trying to stop the end of the world as we know it.
So why haven't you helped him?
My relationship to the apocalypse is more complicated.
Oh, seriously?
Seriously. Anyway, I have helped him. I've given him control of the Institute. I've provided him with...
Me?
Any manpower he might require.
Yeah, but if he's right about the extinction, what it is, then why didn't you say anything before? Why am I only hearing about this now, and why doesn't John know?
In my case, while Peter has talked of it before, it is only very recently that I've been forced to admit the extinction is real. And as for our dear archivist, I'm afraid I no longer have any real control over what he does or does not know. Unlike yourself. I notice you haven't told him either.
Yeah, well, I'm still not sure I really believe it. And I'm
worried he might charge off into another coffin. Quite. As for why I've done so little about such a looming existential threat, to be blunt, I have been rather busy. Besides which, don't forget I am still living at Her Majesty's pleasure, due in no small part to your actions. So by this point, all I can do is confirm that everything Peter has told you is true.
I think he wants me to join the Lonely.
Then it sounds like you have a decision to make.
What? That's it? No monologue, no mind games? You love manipulating people.
That makes two of us. But no, this is too important for me to jeopardize with cheap mind games. I simply have to trust that when the time comes, you'll make the right choice.
Great. So what you're actually saying is that you're going to be no help whatsoever?
Just like old times.
I don't know what I expected. Right, we're done here.
Don't forget to keep in touch, Martin. There are so many people in here, but without one's friends, it does get rather lonely. Here we go. Good evening, Detective.
Oh! Useless, scheming piece of shit.
Detective, this is quite unnecessary.
I'm sorry. Was that unnecessary? Because this is the most helpful you've been so far. Unless you've got another crisis for me.
No. It's fine. I'm sorry.
Oh yeah? For which part?
All of it?
You sent us to the North fucking Pole for no goddamn reason.
A miscalculation.
No, I'm done with your games.
Basira.
And when exactly were you planning to tell us he's been feeding on innocents?
I've always thought that a man's eating habits were his own private business. But I can see how maybe I should have mentioned it.
Or that we were being stalked by some freaky spider woman. Don't tell me you didn't know about that.
Yes. Well, to be honest, I'd advise you to leave that one well alone.
Oh, yeah?
Look. I've been doing this a long time now, and if there's one thing I've learned about the web, it's that it plays its own game. All you can really do is hope it doesn't get in the way of whatever your plan is. Because the spider usually wins. Assuming you have a plan. Do you have a plan, detective?
Why do you do that? What is that?
Do what?
You always call me detective. So that's supposed to mean something?
Honestly? I just like the way it sounds.
So, why do you agree to see me?
I missed you.
Right. That's why you've been refusing my visits since we got back.
I thought it might have been an idea to give you some space.
Oh, and how'd that work out for you?
Not ideally.
So what now? Another wild goose chase? More gloating about John's destiny? Because right now, I'm having a real hard time figuring out why I shouldn't just tell them to throw your little deal out the window and see how you do in here without special treatment.
I mean, you have plenty of reasons to do that, of course, but I'm not sure that they have any reason to listen to you.
I'll make them listen.
Will you? You're not police anymore. You've done them some favours, but they've done you some as well. And I think you'll find that the information that I've been giving to them has been far more consistently useful. You want to issue them an ultimatum? Go right ahead. I'm just not sure it'll go quite how you hope. And, no more violence, detective. Or I may have to call in the guards.
So that's it, then?
As far as I can tell, you have no interest in anything I have to say, and mainly came here to let off some steam. So yes, that's probably it.
Surprised you didn't foresee it.
Well, that's always been my problem. Ever the optimist.
You know, when you have no more useful information, and they're done with you...
You'll kill me. Yes. I'm sorry to say, detective, but you're becoming predictable. Goodbye, detective. I shall miss our little chats.
Where are his eyes?
Exactly where they've always been, Martin. Watching over my institute. Gertrude.
Damn.
Did you really think I wouldn't notice?
I'd rather hoped you'd still be hampered with all the darks business. It's their grand eclipse at the moment, isn't it?
But I think we've both come to the same conclusion about that. That's why you're here.
Yes. Shame, really. I used to be able to torch a building in half the time. Age catches us all. Well, almost all of us. Elias.
You were the one so insistent on staying human.
And no doubt that makes my death a lot less complicated.
What exactly were you hoping to achieve here? Why not come at me directly instead of burning everything first?
I was rather hoping the fire would occupy you while I did just that.
I see. How long have you known?
About your body. Not long after you took your new host and we had that little chat. Wasn't exactly a huge leap to the panopticon after that. The hard part was figuring out how to actually reach it. Took me the better part of a decade.
So you burn the place down, use it as cover to reach my body, and then we die together. How poetic. Doesn't seem like your style at all.
I wasn't actually planning on dying.
And how exactly were you planning on achieving that while you're still bound to the... Oh, I see. Very clever. I thought Eric was the only one to figure that little morsel out.
Knowledge has a way of surviving. You, of all people, should know that.
Quite. It was a good plan, actually. If you hadn't been so complacent about me keeping an eye out down here, probably would have worked. Gertrude's grand retirement.
It still might. Just needs a little spark and... I see. So you're finally getting your hands dirty? I must really have caught you off guard.
I suppose we both got a little complacent. 50 years is a long time. End of an era.
I'm not really in the mood for nostalgia, Elias. You might have noticed I'm rather busy, so either shoot me or... Well, there it is. Thought it would hurt more.
Pity.
What are you doing here, Elias?
Oh, you needn't worry. 2 against 1? I couldn't stop you if I wanted to. I just wanted to be here at the end. Can a man not watch his own death?
What? What? How are you even here?
Well,
don't let him distract you.
Peter.
Elias.
Both of you, just shut up. Just give me a second to think.
Of course. You can take all the time in the world.
Come now, Martin. I would have thought you'd jump at the chance to kill me.
That's not... Why wouldn't you help against the extinction?
Because I'm a busy man. It has never been my top priority.
I don't believe you.
That really doesn't matter, I'm afraid. It's the only answer you're going to get.
If I do kill you, will the others survive?
Elias?
Come now, Peter. It's a valid question. And you should have addressed it yourself, really. The short answer is I don't know, Martin. I guarantee it won't be pleasant for them, but I honestly don't know if their ties to the Institute are quite as strong as I may have implied. You, at least, should be insulated from the fallout by your new allegiance. John might be powerful enough to weather it. Melanie's well out of it, so that just leaves Basira and Daisy. And the rest of the Institute, of course, and you can't tell me you care about them.
Of course I do.
Do you, though? Do you really care about any of them? Or is that worrying just simply an old reflex? Goodness. Peter has done his work well, hasn't he? No. The only choice I think that matters is whether you want to kill me or not.
This is your doing, is it?
Hardly. I warned you, Peter.
But you do serve the lonely.
Oh, I'm getting there, but if this is the final test or something, then bad luck. The answer's still no.
No, this isn't fair. Do you have any idea what you've done? You knew. He must have
Elias,
known.
Jonah had nothing to do with it.
No, that's not... You can't.
You've lost, Peter. Admit it. He played you like a cheap whistle.
No! Shut up!
Peter. It's time.
Fine.
Great. Now, perhaps one of you then can tell me what I...
It won't be that bad, Peter. You'll see. Now, he'll be here soon, so you can leave or...
Oh, no. I'm not going to make it easy on him. You haven't won yet.
Your choice. Just make sure to leave the door open. Ah, John. I was almost worried. You found your way all right.
Yes. Yes, I did. How?
Suffice it to say, I called you.
What is this place?
A complicated question, and time is...
It's the Panopticon.
My, you have grown. Yes. A masterpiece, isn't it?
Yeah. It is. And that's you, then? Your body?
Not anymore. Not really. Although if you harmed it, it wouldn't go well for me. Or any of your friends, for that matter.
Maybe it's worth it.
Maybe. And I'm sure in another circumstance you would be more than happy to take your chances for a shot at revenge. But for Martin, time is very much of the essence.
Where is he?
Peter Lucas has him. Cast him into the lonely. And with every passing moment he gets further away from you.
How do I bring him back?
From out here? Impossible.
You want me to follow him?
No, John. You want you to follow him. I simply want you to know that if you do so, you are almost certainly not coming back. To go into the lonely willingly is as good as death.
How do I do it?
It wasn't too long ago, and I'm sure traces of their passage still remain. Just open your mind. Drink it all in. Know their route and simply follow it. Very good. Are you scared, John?
Yes.
Perfect. Knock, knock.
Double boss.
Elias?
I'm not too late for cake, am I?
There's a cake?
That whispers deep within her mind those bitter thoughts that make her hate herself.
Jonah Magnus.
Be assured, cannot hide their secret loathing that leak and spread.
Ceaseless Watcher, you know why I am here. Release him.
Jonah Magnus.
John? Is that you? I was having the most wonderful dream.
Get up.
What's going on? Where? I see.
It's over.
Is it? Yes. Yes, I suppose it must be. Where's Martin? I rather thought he'd be the one to do the deed. I see. Going it alone, are we? Probably for the best. Empathy only holds you back in the end.
You failed.
Have I?
Immortality. It's impossible. Even without me, nothing escapes entropy. Not forever. Not even fear.
Yes. Pity. I suppose I always knew that, deep down. But it was wonderful while it lasted. I've seen more than I could have lived in 1,000 lifetimes, and every moment was
Shut up! It ends now. All of it. I am going to take this world that you used me to create, and I am going to burn it out. It's the only way. I'm going to leave it a barren, lifeless void, cold and unafraid, and then finally, when everyone's gone and I am all that's left, I will have the satisfaction of knowing that I'll be leaving these things that you serve trapped and starving in their own private hell.
That we serve.
Not for much longer. I wonder if they're even capable of fearing their own ends. I look forward to finding out.
Look, John, as fun as all this melodrama is enough. We both know that you don't have it in you.
That was for Sasha.
John, wait.
For Tim.
Please, John.
Gertrude. And all the others.
Please, John. I don't want to die.
Neither did they.
But no one escapes at the end.